Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Southborough Stewardship Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with the right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate in the meeting may do so in the following manner by finding the meeting at the website. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technology. In the event that we are unable to do so despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record as soon as possible after the meeting. So, welcome. Thanks all for being here. We have Jim's minutes to review as our first item. So did anyone have anything for Jim on the minutes? Not hearing anything. Are you just all reviewing them now?
I don't have any comments.
So Freddie's on mute. I wonder if Melissa could unmute her. I tried. I don't have any powers to be. Freddie, can you speak, Freddie? Because I think we'll hear you now. No. If you can hear us, we can't hear you.
Is there a chat function that she can type into?
Usually there is.
Yeah, no, there is. I found it.
I just sent her a hi Freddie message. I sent it to everybody.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. From now on, I'll be keeping myself on mute when I want to be muted because I have dogs who bark in the background. But thank you for making sure you could hear me.
Did you have anything on the minutes? So far, no one does. All right, so with no comments on the minutes, can I have a motion to approve them?
I make a motion, this is Jenny. I make a motion to approve the July 15, 2020, the June 11, 2020 minutes as written.
I'll second.
I have a second from Kat. Thank you. All in favor? Jim?
I'm in favor.
Jenny?
In favor?
Kat?
In favor.
Freddie?
Freddie, unmute.
I can't unmute her myself. Freddie, are you in favor? I'm in favor.
I'm abstaining. I haven't read them.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So the motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Oh shoot, I have a slip of paper over here I need to get. We have on the agenda, the next item is the budget review. So I think we're going to be thinking about keeping in mind what are our targets and needs for next year as the plan comes out, that Melissa has been working on, our plan and guidance of priorities for the future. So is there anything else on budget for discussion? Okay, so I'm just flagging that for everyone that we will keep that, those needs in mind for the, as we plan our future year. Yeah, Freddie, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it fits under here or not, but I wanted to see if we could hire Charlie Eisman. The opportunity came up to hire. He's a botanist. He's also a bug guy, but he does amazing work. And to follow up on our walk last year with Larry Weiner, to get a list of all the plants. You know, we did try getting pro bono help. I've asked different botanists. There have been other people on the committee who tried, and it hasn't worked out. So what happens is when we don't mow, plants come in, but we don't know where they are or what they are. And the goal would be to get a comprehensive list on a map, preferably, as well as focusing on the plants on Robert Jageer's list of priority plants. Like we found the pussy willow, and we found the Rosa Carolina by chance. What else is out there that we want to start managing specifically for? Also the I just reread the report we got back from Larry Weiner when they did the walk, and they talked about nuanced management. And you know, we didn't have the money to pay him for the full-on review, but it seems valuable to have this information to help us guide us in our management moving forward.
So if we don't know the plants are there, we can't protect them. So I think having someone we've been able to protect the rose, the native honeysuckle. We've been able to protect these plants when we know they're there because we can mark them for the mower. It's just, to Freddie's point, now there's things we just don't know. So do we know, Freddie, this would be for sometime this summer he would come around?
Yes, he actually has an opportunity to come tomorrow because his schedule's filled up for most of the summer.
Oh.
So depending on whether this committee funds it or not, the Open Space Committee with our small little $2,000 budget would think it's worth doing. But so I engaged him to come out tomorrow. It's a better fit for stewardship, but I think it's important enough. You know, the Open Space Commission does support the Beecology research, and we're sort of partnering with the Stewardship Committee and Concom on that. We've traditionally funded some of the expenditures and done a lot of the programming that we can. So
I would say that's, does someone want to make a motion to support that?
Here's the thing.
More discussion.
I did want to tell you the dollar amount. Maybe that's good.
Yeah.
So for the initial, but I have to talk to him again as soon as this meeting's over, 8:30-ish. The first one, he typically charges $500 for like a 8-hour day or longer, plus the work at home, plus the travel time. And I thought we could get the beginning and then see if there's more work we want to do or not. But that would be just the first step.
Would he need to come out multiple times to, find plants that, some of them might have emerged in the spring and be done, or some of them might barely be coming out and not flowering yet? Like later, late blooming plants?
I think typically you want to do that, but for right now, yes, my guess would be yes. I'm thinking, we'd be talking about probably $1,000 project.
Mm-hmm.
But until he comes out on his first one, what he said to me is that you know, we have a very complex landscape. And I'm talking right now just doing the, is it 45 or 60 acres of the open area? I think we don't even really know what's going on in the wooded swamp, wetlands, or the, you know, the quarry areas or the woodlands. That would be nice to have. To me, it always seems we're not doing as much management there, but it could be nice to know. One of the other things that came up is that where we have misses, right? So Dawn mentioned that because we didn't mow, I believe it's E, she said, oh, Freddie, did you know that you have the black aronia, the black choke cherry blooming? So we have a big patch of that. Now that's not on Rob's list, but it's an important source of food for birds that we've just been mowing down every year because, you know, we've done the best we could with the knowledge we had, but we've moved on. We're a little more sophisticated and have a little more comfort in knowing what we're doing. So what else is there out there that, you know, we didn't necessarily see? So yeah, I think different times, but I think after, I figured I would just grab him now to see what we could get, and then we can talk about a bigger long-term plan. If, oh, and because he asked for shape files, this goes back to there's always some added benefit in things we do. He asked for shape files, which is a GIS based program, which mapping, and Chris Politan had created some for us pro bono back when, because Larry Weiner came, but they reside on Chris Politan's computer. So I asked if he had them. So he got excited again. So he's back, like, he goes, well, I've got a lot of the mapping you want from Larry Weiner's walk. And I'm going, he goes, you've got a lot of info already. And I'm like, you have it on your computer. I don't, you know, the stewardship committee doesn't have it. We went on the walk, but it was a lot of new info for us. So I don't know that, you know, so I guess the benefit is by hiring Charlie, we're already getting some added pro bono work. He's sending Charlie the map that we'll end up getting, and there'll be some more information from it. So
Thank you, Freddie, for making that connection. Does anyone have any further questions about that?
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Does someone want to make a motion?
I move that we fund the visit for Charlie Eisman to conduct a survey of Breakneck Hill, a plant survey.
Thank you, Kat. Do I have a second?
can I just add, can we make that motion for up to $1,000 for this, depending what, you know, so that I don't have to wait for another stewardship committee if it seems that's where it's headed. But then to go beyond that, we would have to discuss.
Okay, so the motion is on the table for up to $1,000 to support this visit from this expert botanist to help us with the plant survey. Is there a second?
I second the motion. It's Jenny.
Jenny seconded. All in favor, Jim?
I'm in favor.
Jenny?
I'm in favor.
Kat?
In favor.
Freddie?
I'm in favor, and my dog Maisie too.
Maisie's in favor, and I am in favor. The motion passes. Thank you.
Freddie, could you give me the gentleman's name again?
Charlie,
Okay.
Eisman.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right, so the next item we have is town forest.
No new updates from the town forest. It's still there.
No updates. Okay, and
Can I ask a question? Do we want to
yes.
revisit when we're talking about doing the planning for Breakneck Hill, looking at an update of some kind of management plan for the town forest and costs that are needed there?
That would be great because that plan is expiring in 2021.
Yeah, I knew that date was coming up, and I I thought it was coming up pretty quick because it seems like a long time ago. And it does seem like we have a lot of ideas for things for Eagle Scouts and stuff, and to prioritize and memorialize them in a plan that would provide us some flexibility and a place to go when something comes up, I think would be great. So
Are we talking about the forest stewardship plan? Because I was talking about like a Breakneck Hill management plan, but it would be part of the same thing.
Yeah, I thought what you meant, Freddie, was as we work to develop something that will guide us in the future on priorities for Breakneck Hill, that there would be like a chapter or page or something in that spoke to town forest. Is that what you meant?
I actually was thinking we could have our own management plan for the town
so it's
forest.
separate.
We have a forest stewardship plan, which is what I think Kath was talking about. If I'm So we want to keep that on our radar, but should we have a bigger plan which addresses additional items that was based on forestry, like recreation and, having a real plan for the trails over there? It's always been, we've done a good job looking at it, but it's always been I'll call it the poor stepsister to Breakneck Hill, our focus, which is because rightfully so, we started out being this for Breakneck Hill, but maybe we could put a little more attention there because we have a lot of time and energy. That was said tongue in cheek.
Yeah, we know. Yes, I can cue that up for more attention on a future agenda if we wanted to spend more time on that and what that might be.
Or find some other people to help, or, just make it an item, because I had a conversation with Tim from Recreation, from the Open Space Commission, just to say, we don't know where coronavirus is going to take us long term, and are there opportunities for nature-based recreation, outdoor activities, and if there aren't organized sports indoors in the winter, like how we did a great job, thank you Joyce, on the scavenger hunt, but I also, he didn't even know about that. I said, oh well, we should send it to him and he can send it out to all the recreation people. Like, he has a whole nother level of contacts that we don't hit, like even with the My Southborough. So
I can send that to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I have the fancy version that Melissa did in PDF? I don't know.
I think it's on the website, so you should be able to just get it and save
so
it.
I will download it. Okay, so I'm just writing
I
this
thought
down.
I had sent it to him and Youth and Family to send out to their
Yeah, I thought you had two
groups.
actually.
I think I sent it, but we can do it again.
Yeah,
Well, maybe he just forgot that he had already sent it out. But the point is, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I wouldn't mind doing it because he's kind of a new person in town, and just I can introduce myself as the chair, and I can say, you may have received this from Melissa Danza. I just want to share it and remind you of the awesome opportunities for recreation on these properties. So,
and I think doing some focus on the town forest, the trails there, I don't know what condition they're in, so maybe we should do a committee walk someday soon. And then I'm sorry about the barking, but I'd have to leave the room to kill her. So I'm feeding her bread, but the loaf is only so big. I did email out, because Tim sent it to me, the requirements for outdoor recreation. Do you know what I'm talking about, for trails and stuff?
For phase 3.
For phase 3?
And how it applies, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's something for us to look at as well. just to make sure. But if, you know, it could be a long haul where we want to be looking at how we can support the community with outdoor activities if, you know, kids are stuck at home with their parents over the winter.
Yeah,
You know, like snowshoeing or whatever.
yeah,
So,
yeah. That's all good thoughts. So we can definitely do that.
Oh, maybe we
Um,
could do like a wild animal tracks, like winter scavenger hunt.
Well, we did have a
Charlie,
tracker in one time at Breakneck Hill, and I
Charlie
was
Eisman's a tracker.
Oh,
is he the one who did it the other time?
No, but
Yeah, so that I think that's a great idea. We did have a fairly good turnout the time that we had the tracker at Breakneck Hill, even though like there wasn't a lot of snow or anything. But let's just say I found the skunk scat.
that was one of the highlights I heard. But I also heard the tracker found the bobcat scat.
He did, yeah, bobcat scat. Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that. So, and that gentleman was from out, I forget where.
Yeah, we
that
could check
place
with
was.
we could check with both of them.
Yeah, so let's keep that in our minds for a fun winter thing. We've got time on that.
can I mention one thing about the town forest related to the website that I had emailed you? Is this the
Oh,
right
yes,
time?
I did. Thank you. Yes, that was the town forest. Yes, go ahead.
So I've been poking around the town website and just updating the trails website and noticed a few broken links throughout the town website. So I'm asking Tom LaFlame to do some updates. And I noticed on the Stewardship web page that there's a link to town forest that goes to a blank page. And so what I'd like to recommend is I had extracted some text on the town forest and the Wilfrid Chen land from the Sudbury Valley Trustees brochure that summarizes what the town forest is and what that land is and stuff. And it's just a quick blurb, and it talks a little bit about some of the activities you can do there. It's simple, and it links to the map of the town forest that's held by the Sudbury Valley Trustees. They do both their terrain wildlife habitat as well as the town forest map. So I wanted to know if we could just extract that text from the Trails Committee and put it on that page and link to the map so that if people were to stumble on it from the Stewardship web page, that they would see that.
I think it's a great idea. And it's a nice description and with instructions on parking and stuff. I
We credit SVT in it though.
Absolutely.
Okay. I
And
think it's a wonderful
I
idea.
also include a link to SVT's site for more information because it came from theirs.
So for the stewardship page, Kat, if you just tell me what's broken and what you want to link to it, I can fix that because I have access to Concom and stewardship pages, so
Oh,
I can do
wonderful.
that.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, because it was on the recreation page, but okay. Thank you, Melissa. I'll send it to you.
So Kat will send that text to Melissa with the links to put on there. So great. Well, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else on that? So the next item was updating our management plan, priority and ongoing projects. And last time we had mentioned that we're going to keep this on the agenda, and then until we get a draft from Melissa, I don't know that there's any further discussion that's necessary because we'll need to be reacting to the draft, which will help guide us into the future and whatnot. So is there anything else on that for anybody? Okay. Updates on mowing. I had an action item last time to email Karen, I forget her last name, over at DPW, and acknowledge her and her crew's attentiveness to our instructions and willingness to, I know that at least Freddie and Jim and maybe others met with them at various points to guide them and instruct them on how and where to mow and not to mow. And I wanted to acknowledge that. I have done that. And also a big thank you also to Melissa, who engineered a lot of that. So far, it looks like that's been going pretty well. Is there any other updates on that that we need to talk about on the mowing?
They've been doing a very good job.
Yeah, I got a nice note back from Karen. She said she would share my note with the crew. And I think somebody, maybe Freddie, it was you or Melissa, someone told me that the crew that goes out there and mows actually enjoys mowing there. And I think all of us who have spent time there can understand why somebody would enjoy being out there, even in the capacity of mowing.
So there was 2 issues with the mowing. Next to the ecology garden and back of the community gardens is a lot of land that didn't get used by the community gardens. And I happened to be there one day when they were mowing the trails, and I called them over and they agreed and they mowed that. So they added that to it, because otherwise that huge amount of area will become just tall weed source for, weed seeds to the ecology garden and the community gardeners. So that went really, it wasn't like I was, it didn't feel like I was being, it wasn't an imposition. And then they came, I noticed I was there today or yesterday, and it had been mowed again. So they just did it themselves. So they said they would add it to their area. But another issue came up that I haven't gotten over to it, but Bombus fervidus sightings have been pretty steady. And we had Bombus fervidus on the steeple bush in the ecology garden. And, we should have like a parade or something, like confetti. If I could get confetti over the screen, I would. That shows that this project is already a success, and we didn't expect anything till next year, really. And I think there were vegans in that garden again today. So the 2 rare species are already in the garden. But saying that, consistently, they're seeing what we've been doing for management is working, and they're seeing fervidus has been seen, and again, it's on the red clover and vetch, which is not native, which we're trying to shake that up, but for right now to have a healthy population. And unfortunately, the red clover and vetch is in the middle of a trail. And I told Rob I'd see about, not rerouting the trail, but just moving it over. And then, but they mowed today, they mowed recently. So I'm going to see about doing that. And if Jim's around, maybe we could take a walk. What Rob says you need to do is mow half of it every other time so that it needs to be open. There's plenty of red clover and vetch throughout the property. They seem to prefer being on the ones on the trail edge, maybe because it's easier to get to. They don't have to go down into the vegetation, and maybe there's more predators there, like spiders that like to eat bees. So if we can sort of help that out, I'm going to try to do that and see if we can. Melissa said I could contact Karen to explain it, but if anyone's
Okay.
interested in looking at that. Oh, and there's 2 other little trails, but I don't know that we'll have them do it. I don't know if this is the place to tell you this, but Rob contacted me today, very excited. Where we did some of the purple loosestrife removal in the front pasture is just a bigger patch near there's a swamp rose. There's a huge patch I haven't seen it. I have to go look tomorrow. Huge patches of monkey flower. So,
Oh,
and swamp milkweed and vervain. Now we knew the vervain and swamp milkweed were there before the purple loosestrife took over, but the monkey flower was not in that area, and it's like the biggest patch of it. And you know, we're going to make a little trail to go in so we can look and then also collect seeds. But it's very exciting. He saw vegans there. He didn't. It's not clear, you know. Probably Fervidus will use it. You just have to be there at the right time of day when they're there. But it's very exciting. I haven't seen it myself yet, but and
It is
he
exciting. It's, you know, progress on the habitat we've been creating. That's doing the thing we wanted it to do.
and you know, the purple loosestrife wasn't without its challenges, the removal and you know, some amount of heartache, and it's always a serious decision to make, and we made that decision, and to have a success based on that. And Rob says just take a picture of the dead loosestrife from last year stalks surrounded by the monkey flower. There's your, you know, there's your proof. So yay us.
Yay, us. It's wonderful to have that to celebrate. I will say that yesterday I took some video of a bumblebee in my yard on my button bush that I thought might be Fervidus, but I'm not sure. So I have to upload it to the Facebook site for identification, but because I thought Fervidus was the one with like just more yellow on its bottom, right?
Yeah,
but
it's got,
does it have the black stripe on the thorax?
Yeah, I don't know what I saw, but it wasn't like the others.
so it's all very exciting. And you know how many, I'll tell you, somebody texted me like at 11 o'clock last night asking for a bumblebee ID. So it doesn't matter. People are looking and paying attention in ways they never did before. And they're not just looking at the bees, because I was looking for vegans today and I saw some other little bee, a different kind of bee, and you know, and then there was a butterfly, and you know, it's just like we're paying attention.
Yeah.
so can I add just a little tidbit? So I have swamp milkweed in my yard, and I've never seen so many bumbles, dozens of bumbles all over them. And I'm trying to identify them using what Freddie had put up, one of the guides to tell which one's which. And then unfortunately, I have a non-native. It was an accidental planting, and it has a beautiful flower, but it has no bees on it, which is really interesting, because I think that's the point of planting native, is it not? That they will naturally go to a native plant and get their nutrients where the non-natives aren't actually providing them the nutrients. So it's a great side-by-side unfortunate example.
So much fun when what we think we're doing is right, and then we have the real life examples that, oh yeah, it is. You know, it's not just somebody's theory. And that's why Rob was, I'll tell you, Rob said that, you know, we're the first to prove that his theory is right. When that Fervidus landed on that steeple bush in our Beecology research garden, like, you know, he doesn't come across as not being sure of himself, but it was like a real validation for him and for us, for the hard work that, and I can't speak highly enough of the volunteers, you know, everyone in this committee, but way beyond us at this point now. And, you know, and Kat was there on Sunday, and she's a great worker, I'll say that. And, you know, it's just, especially during coronavirus, it's fun. You know, it's a place you can see people and feel safe, because we wear the mask and we do social distancing a lot, and we're outside and working for the better good. It just,
Yeah, it really conveys a sense, a spirit of being part of a community, part of something that's bigger than us. And yeah, it's a nice feeling. I was out recently helping with the weeding and stuff, and it's yeah, I enjoyed it very much myself.
oh, just to finish the mow, because I probably got off the mow topic. Rob would like a little dead end, two like cul-de-sacs, one going into the monkey flower air and the swamp rose so that you can go in and look, but the other one going from where the bee hotel is into the Wildflower Hill where the Menard, when all the bee balm is, because
Oh,
there's a lot going on in there.
okay.
So I'm going to see about, or I might get, I think we need Twin Pines again for the finish up at the Bee Ecology Garden. We need some more mulch dropped off and a little more weed whacking, and then finish up the front, get that dirt moved. And so if they come over, I think a weed whacker might be better than waiting for the trail mower. 'Cause we don't want a real big wide trail going in there, just where if somebody's doing looking at the plant, they can.
Okay, so you're gonna follow up with Karen on that.
Karen or Twin Pines.
Okay. Anything else on mowing? Was there anything on trails? Other than what we've just talked about? Did you have something, Kat?
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring it up to our attention to see if there was an opportunity or of any interest, and it might be a limited opportunity, so I'll just preface it with that. And I had this up, so hang on just a second while I pull it up. I had the email. Somehow it disappeared. So, oh no, I know why. Here it is. Okay, so sorry. The Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission contacted me on behalf of as a Trails Committee, and asked if we were interested in participating in that. They received a DCR grant, and they are making an interactive online map of some trails in local communities in central Massachusetts. And so she is looking for any trail data, GIS data, and that type of stuff to share with them. And they would share this as part of it, would include this as part of their project. So I wanted to reach out and ask you guys if you were interested in having. We may have a limited number of what trails we can include, so I'll preface it by saying that. But if we were interested, if the opportunity to present itself to have our trails be included in the project, so I just want to put that out there. I know our trails can move sometimes.
And the project means like it's a resource online that people go to?
Yeah, an interactive map, so people would actually have their cell phones. They could pull it up while they're out and kind of navigate accordingly. It's something the Trails Committee has been wanting to do for most of the trails in Southborough, but we haven't had the GIS capabilities, and you need a tool, and this committee, this group does have the tool, and so
Can I put a contrary and point of view out there, because I thought about it and my first gut reaction is, wow, this is so cool, let's do it, when I heard about the possibility. But then I'm thinking about, like, we have the Bay Circuit Trail and we have the Reservoir Trail, which are part of a regional trail system, and those really make sense to be on a regional trail map. My concern is, particularly during coronavirus, and we don't know if that's going to come back again, Breakneck Hill has limited parking and we got wicked crowded. And on a Sunday, there were days when it was, parking all up and down Breakneck Hill Road some days. And we're not a trail property recreation. We offer, it's one of the things we are, right? But the main thing is conservation land. And at what point too many people? And,
Yeah,
especially when, like, there was a point in time when the trustees in Audubon and even DCR, even up in the White Mountains, they were closing trails down. And to be on a regional map, and I think we've done a good job, and people in Southborough know where Breakneck Hill is and they use it. So, and I tell you, I think we can do better on our trail names. I don't even think we need mapping. I have never heard in all my years, no one's ever come running up to me asking me, how do I get out of here? Or where does this trail go? You just walk it and you find your way, I've just never seen it. And so I'm a little bit selfishly thinking, I don't think we need to publicize it, and I don't know that there's a need.
Okay.
But that's just one thought.
Yeah, no, I can't say that that thought didn't occur to me. It did. We have a lot of traffic there. We have a lot of people using it. On the one hand, I mean, it's attention, right? You want to look at this wonderful gem we have, come see. And then on the other hand, you're like, well, does that mean more dog litter? Does that mean more parking stresses so that when I want to get up there and then I can't park or something? So I understand, I appreciate that tension. I do, Freddie. I understand where you're coming from. How do others feel?
I tend to agree with Freddie.
You agree, Jim? Yeah.
Willing to
Jenny?
share the reservoir trails.
They're well suited for that. Yep.
And it's a through track, you know what I mean? It's through. It's not like if you're from other towns, you can walk through, you know,
Yeah.
and not.
That's fine. We don't need to spend much more time.
Well,
unless-
I interrupted before Jenny got to speak, sorry.
Yeah, I want Jenny to weigh in.
No, I don't have a strong opinion either way. I can see things from both sides.
Yeah,
All
there's
right.
plenty of trails in town that we can work with, and if they're going to limit it to a certain number, that's totally fine. I just wanted to make sure the opportunity was out there if we were interested. Thank you for your.
Thank you.
Did we want to consider is the town forest different, or is that just more of the same?
Well, it's tight parking there too.
Yeah.
Worse type parking, yeah. And we do have the Bay Circuit Trail too, which doesn't get enough PR in my mind, town-wide.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, status of community gardens. I have a couple of updates because the community gardens coordinator has been reaching out to me on a couple of things. So we agreed, I think at our last meeting, on the location of the compost pile. She was alerting her member gardeners to that. And she reached out and asked whether one gardener wanted to bring raw fish heads in to the compost because it's good for something. And that is not going to happen because of the attraction that it might be for critters and just the smells and stuff. So I think that's all going fine. There was discussion last time about some trash bins. Actually, this probably should have been part of trails. There is a trash bin at the trailhead, but kind of further afield from, like kind of away from the road and close to the garden area we have with the kiosk and the bench. And so I was going to suggest that DPW move that closer to the road so people have to take a couple extra steps and no one has to walk by a stinky trash bin that might be full of dog litter. And Freddie had suggested to me closer to the road might be good. So I will follow up with, I can follow up with Karen on that if that should be the thing to do. And I don't think there was anything else on gardens other than it sounds like the composting is happening. I know I said I would do some signs. I just haven't gotten to it. Hopefully I will. And there's no trash bin at community gardens.
There
right?
is.
I think I
is.
was
I'm gonna
confused
jump
about
in.
that last time.
There
Thank
is
you.
one, and it's over by the chain link going into the road at the constructed wetlands, and it seems to be working out fine. I haven't noticed any like lots of debris there or flies around it. That was my concern because if people put dog waste in there, and I've seen the DPW picking it up. So, and it's been convenient for us at the community gardens to put, like we had some litter and we recycled the cardboard, but there was some plastic stuff we got. So it was convenient to have a place to throw it away.
So maybe I can acknowledge that we appreciate where that is at Community Gardens, seems to be working well. If I email Karen and ask that the other one be moved closer to the road on the edge of the parking lot. Or not in the park, like outside the parking lot, but closer to the road so that people don't have to go by and smell the dog litter.
Well, maybe just say, so they don't have to walk by the rubbish on, or sit next to it on the bench or the kiosk.
Yeah.
We don't have to focus on the dog waste because
Okay.
those barrels will be gone in a minute if that's all it is.
Yeah. The next item on the agenda is Beecology, and I'll say that I've been out a couple of times to help out over there, and it's really great to see the variety of volunteers that have been coming out. It seems to, and of course, Freddie just told us about some of the successes. Are there other updates, Freddie? You had said you're going to have Twin Pines to do a little work. Is there other things?
Yeah, when they first gave us the area, and then Isabel's, after Jim put out the fence and it was very nicely done, they put out the Beecology, they put out the community gardens, and then there was area left over. And Isabel said, oh, you can use that if you want, but we already had, way more than enough. But she said it's too wet over there. And I get surprised by toads and stuff. Oh, I don't know if they're frogs, but I think toads. And so the area just next to the wetlands at the rear of the Beecology garden, I was going to double check with her if this committee says to go ahead, but we have some extra loam, and it's in a pile in front of the Beecology garden. It's kind of unsightly. The gardens have all used all they want, and I don't think we need more inside the garden. So I was thinking, and I looked at like giving it back to them. Would they, give us some money back? But for how much is there and what it would cost to transport it and the employees, I'd have to pay them. So if I'm going to pay them, why not move it to that other area? And we have this new technique where we were able to, Emily Van Noort was one of our volunteers, and she's gotten us burlap bags at coffee roasters for free. And we can put those down on top, which will keep weeds from coming in, and it will create additional planting area if we have seeds. And some of the plants within the Beecology garden, it's almost like a nursery, because I think everyone here might know, but Leonardo gave us a lot of plugs. He gave us 6 trays of plugs right after I said we're not putting any more plugs in, because they take a lot more work to bring them up to grow them up, except for his plugs are something else, very deep. And I still have some we can give away, because we don't, if they're not Beecology plants, we're giving them away, except for some that we want on the other pollinator gardens. But the other pollinator gardens, you can't take care of the little baby seedlings. So we have one bed at the Beecology Research Garden that has plugs from Leonardo that are suitable to go over on the Wildflower Hill once they get big enough. But aside from that, don't you have plants coming over, Joyce, from our seedlings?
I do. But they're plugs. So
No, when they get.
I don't think I have things that he didn't have though. So I have showy goldenrod. I think that's already there. I have a ton of giant St. John's wort that my seeds did exceptionally well. I probably have 200 seedlings.
Whoa.
And I also have hairy beard tongue. So I do have seedlings that if we don't need at the Beecology garden, then I will probably through one of the Facebook sites offer them up for a trade or for anyone who is interested in those plants, at some point. But those are the three that I have: showy goldenrod, hairy beard tongue, which is penstemon, and giant St. John's wort, which is the
So
one that's endangered here, I think.
it's just so cool that the workshops we have created all these native plants, and that's just you, Joyce, and we know what Leonardo did, but there were a lot of people at that workshop. So all around the region, people are growing all these plants. So anyhow, the thought was,
wait, I was going to ask you, which side are you talking about? The side where the pussy willow is, or a different side?
the pussy willow side.
Okay.
If you're at Beecology,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a little gate
Yep.
that hopefully Jim will repair someday for us when he gets a chance. It's but if you're at the gate to the right of that is it's like a pathway all the way down the length of the Beecology garden.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get to the back of it, if you kept going straight, you'd end up in the wetlands.
Mm-hmm.
Before you go straight, and if you went to the right there at the end, but say to the right.
Okay.
So there's a big where they're mowing a big patch.
Okay, so like to the right of the path.
And right in front of the flea bane.
Uh-huh. Okay.
What's your thought, Jenny?
Oh, that seems fine. I just wanted to make sure you weren't talking about the pussy willow area.
No, the pussy willow area is actually, we added some more willow to that section over there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But that pussy willow area is going to be exciting next year, I think.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you. Eagle Scout updates. I think you have an update for us, Kat.
Yes, so I reached out to both Troop 92 and Troop 1, and I heard back from Troop 92, the service coordinator, Phil. He said that he will, at the next meeting, share with all the Eagle Scouts the opportunities. I put the kiosk as one opportunity, and Town Forest is another opportunity. And I shared with him, the stewardship and the trails committee, but I put the stewardship opportunities first. So he's going to put it in front. He did say there's some Eagle Scouts or some scouts that are coming up that will be looking for Eagle Scout projects. I've not heard back from him. For Troop 1, the individual I was reaching out to, I've reached out a couple times. I have not heard back from him. He's an older contact, older as in 20, not 19, but 18. So I asked him if he was not the right person, and I had a new contact, if he could share with me. He could be on vacation or any number of things. So I will continue to reach out to others in the community to find another source for Troop 1. So no hits yet, but we are attempting to get some help and see who might be interested in some of these projects.
Great. I will say, I'm presuming the email I had from a young gentleman, now a couple months ago, right, kind of when the pandemic was starting to be a thing. Mm-hmm. And I, responded pretty quickly to him, but I have never heard back from him. But he must be with one of those two troops, I would presume.
Yeah, what's his name?
Those are the active troops in town, right?
It was Nick Cito, right? Nicholas Cito from Malcolm.
No, Nick Cito is the.
Oh, is he the little
library? He's the library guy, right?
Okay, yeah, then that's who I'm thinking of. So there was a second one. I'm not sure.
There was a second one who wanted to do the kiosk, and I emailed him back and never heard back. But maybe they're looking at a lot of different projects in the outset, and maybe it was something else. I don't know. All right, so we'll see if we hear from anybody as, excuse me. I put the next item on grant opportunities, in case there's anything that we need to speak about. I don't have anything to queue up. It's, but does anyone else have anything there for us? Okay. The next item is other business properly before the committee. Are there other things we should be talking about? I'm gonna say, while we're all here, something that came up earlier was possibly a group walk on the trails at Town Forest. If you want, we could try and schedule that now. Or is there a time of day that's good for people, like early or late afternoon, or?
I'm wide open.
Maybe late afternoon, like 4 or later.
4 or later, does that work for you, Kat? Freddie, is that okay with you? So we are today at the 15th. What about the 22nd at 4? So a week from today at 4?
I can do that.
I can
Yeah.
do that.
I can do that.
I can do that as far as I know. I will have to check with Jeff and make sure that it's okay, but
Okay.
as far as the kids go.
So let's pencil that in as 4 p.m. site walk at Town Forest on July 22nd, once we hear confirmation from Jenny. And site walks do not need public posting, is my understanding. So Jenny,
As long as we don't deliberate, which we can.
right. So it would
Be
really
good at-
be, we could be observing, making our own notes about things we might want to queue up on a future agenda.
Yep.
So,
Which would be very helpful for us to do. So thanks for suggesting that. All right, so Jenny, once you have confirmation, you can let me know and I'll get something out. And if that doesn't work, we'll, would maybe let me see, Thursday the 23rd at 4 work? Not good for
Does anybody
Kat.
know when the next CONCOM is?
3 weeks
The
from the
30th.
last one.
Oh, I know. I'm trying to count. Like I don't have it in
30th.
my planner yet.
30th.
Oh, there's somebody chiming in that knows.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Melissa.
I had to run, but I got here.
Yeah. So in that case, so you said Thursday the 23rd.
Yeah, I was thinking the 20, like if, like let's have those two options in mind.
Yeah, that's as far as I know right now. That seems like it's an okay second alternative.
Okay.
and then for parking, I think, Jim, you'll probably walk over from your place, so you won't need to park and I can walk. I think it might be best if you guys, I mean, there's like 1 or 2 spots off of Walnut Drive if you're going right into the trailhead. Joyce, you're familiar, and Freddie are with that. For you, Jenny, I'm just wondering if it's best for her to park on Woodland and walk down, or park, because if you guys are carpooling, like Joyce and Freddie are carpooling, 2 cars could fit back there.
Wait, it's Kidder is the one with the extra spaces, right?
Yeah, why don't we just park there?
Okay, so then let's plan to meet at the Town Forest sign on Woodland.
Ooh,
I smile every time I go by
Oh,
it.
and you know what? We could take a group picture, which we've never.
Oh,
Town
Ooh,
Forest
I
sign.
love that.
We can use it on a future.
hey, could we also grab the forest stewardship plan? Maybe look at that. And also maybe, I know I'm adding something in, but had I sent out a link to the resiliency tree list, which trees are going to make it and which aren't?
Yeah.
Might be worth taking a look at. And this is just knowledge at this time. If they're not saying go and plant these instead of those, but just see what the composition is. How, you know, how much likely loss of trees are we there, and if we should start to consider a plan. It'll also be interesting to note, like, there's a lot of trees that have come down, right?
Yes, yes.
Are those related to some of the trees that are going to make it or not make it? I mean, trees come down, right? They just do. And as it gets more extreme weather, when you have wind and things like that, you know, it could be based on their root types and stuff. But we certainly want to be sure we have a lot of trees in the town forest in another decade, or 20 years, or 30 years, or 50 or 60. But
Is the forestry plan on our website?
I
think
found it online, but I don't know where, if it's on the site. Do you want me to email it around? Would that be helpful?
yeah. Does anyone know where the list, did anyone
I
say
remember you sending it. I don't know if I could get my hands on it, but
the
I
link?
do.
I bet I can Google for it. It's probably like DCR or somebody who created it.
I feel like, hold on, I feel like I have it on my,
We're talking about two separate reports, right?
you're saying the forest resiliency plan.
Freddie's talking about a list of trees. Yes, like in a resiliency thing. I was talking about our own forestry management plan that's going to expire.
I'm talking about both.
And Freddie's talking about both. So yes.
I mean, a simple thing would be to do a check mark on, because the forest stewardship plan listed all the tree types. I don't know if it gave a number, but it might be a percentage. Do you recall how it went, Jim?
I do not know.
Maybe we should link the forest management plan to the same webpage for the town forest. Is that?
Yes, if we can find it.
I found an email from Freddie that says forest resiliency.
Oh, that's the one.
All right, so I should just send it to re-forward it to everybody.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Great. All right, so we have a tentative and a backup for our walk, our group walk at the forest, where we'll meet at the sign on Woodland Road.
Jenny, will you include Melissa in that email? And Melissa, can you link it on the forest page so we have a place to go to instead of searching for old emails?
Yeah.
All right. Any other business we should talk about?
Just one heads up that tentatively the Metro West Conservation Alliance, MCA, Native Pollinator Task Force, is focused on creating ecology gardens, display gardens in each of the 36 towns in the watershed. Our ecology research garden is not that, because it's not set up to be a display garden, right? But it's using the same plants. And in an effort to get one of these gardens in every town, we may have a tour this fall, depending on coronavirus things, but we're going to want to do it at Breakneck Hill will be one site and Lincoln will be the other, I think. And the other thing is that, you know, there may be, we may wish to, on our own, have a grand opening of some sort. Not a grand opening, because we don't really want that to be open like for 1,000. I'm not sure how we want to handle it. That's something for us to discuss. It's not like go there and walk through there. I'll say one of the best things, because there's been some animal eating of the plants going on inside. One of the best things about the fence, though, is I don't have to step and dog do. Like even when we were weeding that the other day, you know, it's like I stepped, you know, it's like one of the first things, like welcome to Breakneck Hill. And it's just really nice in the ecology garden. You don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
But, you know, maybe it's getting better with the barrels. But so I don't know what's it to do with stewardship. Well, certainly the stewardship committee should be part of any celebration and also part of any, you know, if there's going to be an opening or something like that. So, and hopefully it will be somewhat more finished soon, because it's been like nonstop work.
Yeah, it's very exciting to go and see the plants and the blooms and the volunteers. So kudos to you, Freddie, for making that happen.
Yeah,
Thank you,
kudos
but
to you.
you know, the community effort's just been really very encouraging too. And it's just so cool. Like every time I go, there's something else is in bloom, and it's nice because it's all right there. And it's one thing that was funny was Dawn, who does photography. She asked, are there going to be any trails? Because like for her, like some of the other pollinator gardens, you know, or some of the flowers and stuff, to people don't like bushwhacking into the middle of, you know, dealing with the ticks and everything. And we designed this with some, you know, good for the research so that they can go in and look, and that allows us to do the same thing. So I think though, we're going to have to decide, and I'll talk with Professor G. Gear, but is it open, you know, like we open it certain times? And when I say open it, it's that it's not just walk right in and go in there because we have the little gate, but it's not like we don't want people to know about it, but you also don't want, you know, when people start going in there and goofing around and, you know, you can just see plants getting damaged by mistake, or people not respecting that you don't bring dogs in, or, you know, picking the flowers. And it's
We'll have to think about a sign.
and no one's been knocking on the door trying to get in there, but once it's full on and it looks like a little aquarium, not aquarium, what's the word?
Oasis.
Arboretum.
Aviary.
Arboretum. Yeah.
I will end on one thing. Like if you go there and you just sit for a while, it is crazy. All the birds in there, and I'm sitting there and not 3 feet away, just real close, is like the blueberry bush, and there's a catbird just going in there and getting the blueberries. And then there's other birds coming around, and then there's dragonfly. I mean, it's just nonstop activity. And that's just, I mean, it's already so cool.
The catbirds in my yard follow me when I water
Oh, do they?
all the plants I've put in. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I don't do it often, but I've sprayed the red-winged blackbirds. Like I was spraying the plant, and then I noticed that they were sort of gathering around, so I gave them a squirt, and they were kind of, I didn't like squirt them, but you know, I put it in their direction, and it was also during the drought, and they were very happy. What'd you do today, Freddie? Oh, I hosed down the red-winged blackbirds.
Hey, that's important work. All right. Well, we have gone through our whole agenda, and invite a motion to adjourn.
So make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
7:44, and the second is from, was that you, Jenny?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, Jim?
I'm in favor.
Jenny,
I'm in favor.
Kat,
In favor.
Freddie,
I'm in favor.
and I am in favor, so the motion passes. So we are adjourned.
Yoo-hoo!
Thanks, everyone.
Night.
Night,
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good evening.